Hey guys, I'm Dav, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Mortal Empires has officially been released, so we're here with Crom Brindle taking the dwarves up against their hated nemesis, the High Elves, in a war of vengeance. Let's take a look at the army compositions. For myself, we've got a front line here of miners with blasting charges for a bit of precursor damage, backed up by 3 units of Longbeards, one of them being the very green Regiment of Renowned Grumbling Guard. We've also got 2 Dwarf Warriors out on each flank. We've also got a Thane here, who, as you guys probably know already, does have the Tormentor Sword, which is a hard snare, lasts for 19 seconds. It only recharges if he's engaged in melee, but 19 seconds of no moving and minus 26 melee attack is very nice. It's also got Master Rune of Stromny Redbeard, which has a fairly large radius of effect, gives plus 5 melee attack and plus 8 leadership, so very good stuff. On the other flank, we've got a Runesmith supporting. He's carrying his standard rune loadout with Rune of Oath and Steel, Rune of Wrath and Ruin, and Rune of Negation. Honestly, you could probably cut Rune of Oath and Steel in this matchup, as the High Elves generally have a lot of armor piercing, so you don't really need bonus armor against them per se. But, you know, still trying out some new things. Crom Brindle, of course, very good utility as a lord, and thematically I think he's the best pick against the High Elves. He's got Crom Brindle has no fear, which has 1 charge, map wide, makes all your units unbreakable for 31 seconds, which is very, very powerful in the late game. He's also got Flash Bomb, which is a huge speed debuff and gives minus leadership and melee defense as well, so very good stuff. And between Flash Bomb, the new and improved Rune of Wrath and Ruin, which also gives a massive speed debuff, and the Tormentor Sword, the dwarves can slow down opponents in a way they haven't ever been able to before, and it makes them a lot better in multiplayer. You guys will probably see me playing them more often because they're in a really good place right now. We've also got an Organ Gun here, which has been buffed as well. It does a ludicrous amount of damage, has 300 range, very good artillery piece for the cost. Can deal with armored infantry, armored cavalry, and, you know, definitely I would say the cannon may be better picks in certain situations, but requires a bit more testing. The Organ Gun is definitely an effective piece. We've got 1 unit of Thunderers as well, 2 units of Slayers, 1 on each flank for some anti-large support. And that's pretty much it for my army. For my opponent's army, you can see flying over this way, we've got a Flame Spire Phoenix. Also got 2 units of Dragon Princes, 1 on each extreme flank, and a front line of 6 White Lines of Trace, which is very understandable. These guys are excellent armor-piercing infantry, match up very well with, you know, Longbeards. You can consider them basically on the same level, but very good troops overall. He's also got 1 unit of Spearmen just to soak some fire, one would imagine. He's also got a Prince just on a horse here. Looks like he's got his duelist item, the Blade of Bel Caradris. 26 melee attack and 20% armor piercing damage is pretty nice if he finds himself matched up against a Dawi Lord. He's also got a Lore Master of Hoeth, who's, again, very good pick against the dwarves. Anti-infantry, armor piercing. He's got some good spells as well. Harmonic Convergence and Earthblood. Very good selections. So I definitely like my opponent's army pick so far. Would have probably liked to have seen a couple chariots, but the Dragon Princes should be able to do quite a bit of work as well. Let's kick things into full gear and see how it goes. So you can see the organ guns teeing off here, and man, I've missed the sound of black powder weapons. I know we've been playing around with the unlocker and everything, but it's just not the same without the full bore, you know. You can see the Flamespire Phoenix is trying to drop some bombs on my Slayers, 2 clean misses there, and we are going to bring the Thunderers around to lay some armor-piercing missiles on the Flamespire Phoenix. I've dropped a Rune of Wrath and Ruin now to slow its speed a little bit, so 48% speed debuff is down to 63 speed. And we're also moving the Thane over. You can see he's coming into range and going to be popping the Tormentor Sword. You can see there now, if we put it in slow motion just temporarily, you can see the Flamespire Phoenix is not able to move at all, and it does have the Tormentor Sword. So very good stuff. I'm going to be able to just tee off on it with these Thunderers here and deal quite a bit of damage early on, which is very important. Of course, the Flamespire Phoenix with its regrowth kind of ability, the healing proc that it has, can be very devastating in the late game, so I need to do as much damage to it early on as possible. That just goes for a lot of the high elf units in general. As you can see, these spearmen are learning a very painful lesson about precursor blasting charges, rather. Their martial prowess has already dropped pretty much just from those precursor javelins. Same thing here with this White Line of Trace. And this is very important when you're fighting up against the High Elves. If you can manage to drop their martial prowess before they even get into combat, they're going to trade a lot less efficiently against your Dwarf and Infantry. So We were able to do that somewhat on a couple of accounts here. Meanwhile, Thane's just standing here in the back line. We were able to intercept this unit of Dragon Princes with the Slayers, so that's really nice for me. My opponent's going to try and pull away. We're going to bring the Runesmith over around to this side of the formations to start applying the Rune of Wrath and Ruin, as the other unit of Dragon Princes is pulling around this way as well. So meanwhile, the front line engagement is fairly heated at this point. White Lions are definitely going to be able to beat Miners, but Miners have a bit of armor piercing, so they'll do some damage in return. Meanwhile, the Longbeards here, mixed in with the Miners and everything, they're just doing a ton of damage here, really just outclassing the White Lions very heavily. You can see the Grumbling Guard have taken very little damage along with this unit of Longbeards. This White Lion already routed off here. You can see this White Lion definitely munching through these Miners at an alarming pace, but they're able to do quite a bit of damage in return. It's a pretty cost-effective trade, I would say. But this flank is being compromised somewhat. We've got a unit of White Lions charging down the hill. They're going to intercept my Slayers somewhat and spring these Dragon Princes free. Meanwhile, this other unit of Dragon Princes, they're both looking to charge in. I've got my handgunner stacked right on top of my my organ gun here, so he's going to try really hard to get through. We're a bit of a stand and shoot here, but going to get lanced down by those Dragon Princes in a beautiful, beautiful charge there. Meanwhile, over on this flank, the Dwarves are holding out valiantly. The Prince is fighting in here side by side with his White Lions, but Dwarf Warriors mixed in with Miners, being able to fend fairly well against the White Lions. Miners are going to lose and rout off there, but the Dwarf Warriors standing very admirably here. You can see the Flamespire Phoenix already got its healing proc off. It's very close to its healing cap, and a devastating rear charge going to be coming into this unit of Miners here from those Dragon Princes. My opponent doing a very good job of just ping-ponging around, charging into different units, and that's exactly what he needs to be doing. We've got a Rune of Wrath and Ruin here that was slowing these Dragon Princes down, allowing these Slayers to catch a few of their unit models and kill them as they fled. We're also firing away with these Thunderers, so my opponent's just really having a hard time staying in front of my Slayers. He is going to get these two groups of White Lions onto my central pocket here. You can see point-blank firing and a rear charge with the Dragon Princes. All kinds of madness going on in here. It's a very cool cinematic fight, but that Thane was fighting up against the White Lions for some time. We're going to bring him back over into support in this pocket. We're also going to collapse these units over here and just try and finish off these couple units of infantry he has left. We've got another White Lion regrouped over here, going to be charging into these Longbeards, but lots of runes going off, destroying my frame rate. But this Runesmith's been getting terrorized a little bit by the Flamespire Phoenix. Well, not terrorized, but you know, he's been taking some damage for sure. But I'm gonna have to be careful. If the Loremaster of Hoeth is able to get a hold of the Runesmith, that's gonna be a really bad situation for me. You can see a very nice Earthblood going off there, healing these few units of Dragon Prince models that remain, as well as the Loremaster. Actually, it doesn't look like it caught the Loremaster himself, but bringing the Slayers around now who have been sprung free. We're going to get them in on the Phoenix here, and looking to be pretty good on the balance of power so far. It's been very, very close up until this point. This flank is completely collapsed, and my Thunderers are offline, my Cannon's offline, but you know, we still got the Rune Priest here. He's getting that Rune of Wrath and Ruin, slowing these guys down, and just doing some nice, you know, damage over time. The Prince just isn't really able to effectively push through and get onto any high-value targets. He's kind of just standing around here getting circle beaten by Dawi, which is a rough time for him. Crom Brindle's in here. He's doing some great work against these White Lions. Of course, he has heavy armor-piercing weapon strength, some of the highest weapon strength in the entire game. He gets punted over this way by the Phoenix, but that's totally fine with me. I'm actually in a bit of trouble here with my Runesmith. He's been caught by this Loremaster of Hoeth, so we're going to pull him around. Loremaster of Hoeth casting some more Earthblood there, which is very nice, and you can see Crom Brindle's coming in here just behind this organ gun. He's all kinds of angry about all the grudges over the many, you know, millennia against his people, so he's taking it all out against this Loremaster of Hoeth here. He's going to be doing a ton of damage. The Loremaster of Hoeth, although he is a very formidable combatant, has heavy armor-piercing anti-infantry weapon strength, he is no match for the Crom Brindle himself. The White Dwarf is going to put him in his place, rout him off the battlefield, and at this point we're very much ahead on the balance of power. Things are looking very good for the Dawi, so looks like we'll be able to settle some grudges today. Of course, there are always new grudges written, as Dawi have fallen in this battle against the High Elves, so we'll have to go settle those another time, but for today it does look like the Dawi will be able to pull out a victory here, so very fun stuff and a very, very cool way to kick off Mortal Empires and celebrate the release of this awesome free content. Dragon Prince is getting one last desperate charge here, but they're mixed in with Slayers, and rightly will rout. So, very well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that War of the Beard. It's a very fun time in terms of the army breakdown, man, those Longbeards just cleaned house in the front line against White Lions. White Lions are a bit more expensive, but with the support of the blasting charges, being able to drop that martial prowess for the most part before they even engaged, the organ gun was very, very clutch in that regard. It didn't super pay itself off, but, you know, being able to drop martial prowess on a few of those units was very nice. Thunderers only getting 5 kills was, it was alright, but they got some really nice work done against the Phoenix, so I'm happy about that. Slayers getting 60 kills, a lot of Dragon Princes being dragged down there, so excellent work there. Miners did some alright damage. Those chevrons were all doled out before the battle, so that's not anything to write home about. But, you know, those precursor volleys definitely did some HP damage. And, of course, they're a nice, cheap option. Same thing with these Dwarf Warriors. They're just supposed to stand there for a while the Rune of Wrath and Ruin and ranged units and so on really work through the chaff there. So, Crom Brindle himself getting 45 kills and just absolutely just smashing that Lore Master of Hoeth. That was awesome. For my opponent, White Lions across the board, a few of them did quite well. The other ones very much got shot up before they were able to engage. Dragon Princes did okay, but for the cost, you definitely need these guys to pay off a little bit more. So, well played to my opponent. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Mortal Empires content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.